The original Splinter Cell was released over 20 years ago. At the time, it was Ubisoft's biggest hit, which spawned many sequels and became one of the leading franchises in the stealth action genre, up there with the Metal Gear Solid series, from which Splinter Cell took lots of inspiration. The original game was very innovative for its time and had some of the best lighting effects ever seen in a video game up until that point. I mean, even going back to it now, it's still pretty impressive. It was a slow, more methodical stealth game that favored careful movements and planning as opposed to fast-paced running and gunning. But fast forward to today, and the Splinter Cell franchise is nothing but a distant memory. What was once one of Ubisoft's flagship IPs has been effectively dormant for the better part of 11 years. Splinter Cell Blacklist came out in 2013. That's going back 2 console generations, and obviously fans of the series have been waiting very patiently for the next entry. Ubisoft for years, rather than making a new Splinter Cell game, decided to have Sam Fisher cameo in their other Tom Clancy titles like Ghost Recon and Rainbow Six. Until finally, in 2021, we got the announcement that the original Splinter Cell from 2002 was being remade by Ubisoft Toronto on the Snowdrop engine, the same engine used for the Division games, and more recently, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora and Star Wars Outlaws. I was very excited by this news when I first heard it, and knowing it was going to keep to its linear stealth action roots had me very optimistic, as I think I was fully expecting that if Ubisoft were ever to make a new Splinter Cell game, they'd make it open world, like all of their other single-player games. I mean, how often do we get a linear, story-driven game from Ubisoft these days? Almost never. So, in the 3 years since that announcement, I've been keeping a keen eye on the development of the game, but there hasn't really been much since. The last we heard officially was at the end of 2022, when Ubisoft released early concept art and some more details about the game, including how they want to provide lots of non-lethal options in stealth, improving the AI and the cat and mouse-like gameplay between Sam and his enemies, and ray-traced global illumination, which is absolutely perfect for a series like Splinter Cell that is so dependent on light and shadows. So with the game being in development for about 3 years, a leak from a reliable source, Tom Henderson, saying the game may release in 2025, and Ubisoft Toronto recently changing their Twitter profile to fit the Splinter Cell theme, myself and many others were anticipating seeing something about it at Ubisoft Forward. But alas, we got nothing. Not even like a quick little cinematic teaser to let us know it still exists. Just radio silence. Which is bizarre, especially if the game is still planned to be coming out next year or 2026. Even the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake got a little quick teaser to announce the 2026 release window. They had to completely scrap their original work on that Sands of Time remake and start over, so one would expect the Splinter Cell remake to come out before that game. So why not just a little quick announcement and teaser at the very least to remind people this game should be coming soon? Granted, they can still of course release some kind of trailer for the game later this year, but it seems odd to not take advantage of the opportunity at Ubisoft Forward when most eyes would be on it. The lack of news and information is concerning for how far along the game should be by this point in its development. Of course, everyone wants the development team to take their time on this, because they have to get this right. The future of the Splinter Cell IP kind of depends on it, as I wouldn't be surprised if Ubisoft uses this remake to decide whether to make new games going forward. And I have faith in this team at Ubisoft Toronto. Granted, it's hard to have faith in any modern Ubisoft title, but with people who developed the original game being there to work on this remake, and from the interviews we've gotten with the devs, they seem to understand what made the original Splinter Cell so special. Although I don't believe Clint Hawking has any involvement with it. He was a game designer on the original game and game director for Chaos Theory, which many consider to be the best game in the franchise, but he's currently the director of Assassin's Creed codename Hexe at Ubisoft Montreal. But still, there's a lot of people who seem to understand Splinter Cell working on this game, but you never truly know with Ubisoft, do you? Especially since this may end up being Ubisoft's first ever full-fledged remake. There's 3 remakes we know of for sure in development at Ubisoft, being Splinter Cell, Sands of Time, and the Black Flag remake. And it's a very good chance Splinter Cell will be the first of the 3 to release, so it may set the future standard for remakes of big Ubisoft titles, for better or worse. There is a lot riding on this remake, and so while I was disappointed to not see it at Ubisoft Forward, I'm just hoping the silence is because Ubisoft Toronto is really taking their time to get this right, and waiting to show the game when it's ready, and not because it's suffering from any kind of internal development issues or delays, but only time will tell. I love the Splinter Cell series, and I'd love to talk about it more on my channel, but there just hasn't been much to talk about lately, aside from revisiting the old games, which I'll probably do relatively soon. But I hope this series can make a full return, even just beyond the remake. And not to be grim, get it? But Michael Ironside is 74 years old. Who knows how many more times he'll want or be able to return as Sam Fisher. And there is no Splinter Cell without Sam Fisher, and there is no Sam Fisher without Michael Ironside, if the fan response to him being recast in Blacklist was anything to go by. I mean, he practically created the character, so for the sake of the franchise, I really hope this remake can deliver, and bring us back to the roots of Splinter Cell. As the last 2 games, Conviction and Blacklist, kind of lost what made the original game special, as these slower, more methodical, thought-provoking, stealth-driven experiences. But what do you guys think? Were you disappointed to not see the Splinter Cell remake at Ubisoft Forward? What are you hoping to get out of this remake? It's pretty ironic that both Splinter Cell and Metal Gear have been dormant for a while and are both now getting remakes, so hopefully we can return to the heights of the stealth action genre in the AAA space. As always though, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you left a like, consider subscribing if you're new, and other than that, thank you for stopping by, I hope you have a good rest of your day.